Welcome to class. I hope you have enjoyed the macronutrients and then the micronutrients. Today, we shall talk about the last nutrient, which is water. Water as a nutrient. Water is very, very important. And when you look at the body composition, it forms a greater proportion of our body. Yes, so at the end of this lecture or this class, we should be able to describe the body's water source. Where do we get water from? List routes of water loss, how we lose water from the body. Name factors that influence the need for water. Why A will need more water than B. Very, very important. We should be able to list the consequences of dehydration. Dehydration meaning not getting enough water, and explain why water is important generally to every individual. Yes. So once again, to recap our 6 nutrients, and all these are essential: carbohydrates, proteins, fats, lipids, minerals. And the 6th one is water. The 6th one is water. We shouldn't forget. And that is what we are describing today. What is dehydration? It is basically a condition resulting from negative water balance. What it means is that you do not have enough water. And sometimes this negative water balance, or not having enough water, some may experience headaches. So this is not a question of going to take aspirin, going to take paracetamol. It's just a matter of taking water. So water itself is medicine. Hyperhydration is also a condition resulting from positive water balance. That is, you have taken too much water, and this too much water also has its negative consequences. It can even kill. Just like if you take a piece of balloon, one balloon, then you try to fetch water into it. You keep on fetching the water into it, this balloon can burst. The same thing happens to the cells within our body. When there's too much water, the cells go off. Yes, and people have died out of this. So both ways, negative and positive, too much, they all cause problems. Why is water essential? So it's a major component of all our body tissues. Makes between 60 to 70% of every human body weight. So you see that it is a greater amount than any other thing. So water is essential. Everybody can survive just some few days without water. Water is key. Water, living water. Water is life. Without water, blood pressure can rise or go low. Heart begins to malfunction. Kidneys shut down. So it is very, very important. What are some of the functions of water in the body? Transportation of our nutrients to all parts of the body for proper functioning, for growth, for maintenance. All the food that we eat need medium to travel, the nutrients that we get from the food, and they travel in the blood. The blood is basically water. Waste products, at the end of digestion, anything that is not used will need to be excreted, either through the feces or through the urine, and water plays a role in getting them out of the body. Hormones, they transport water. Enzymes, the same thing. The blood cells, the same thing. So water is key in our everyday life. It is a universal solvent for all body systems, and also even in our cleaning in our own homes. It is also very, very important. We cannot survive without water. Water also lubricates our joints. To lubricate our joints, yes, to allow easy movements. Yes, reduces friction between the joints. In digestion, water is needed. Water is needed to enhance digestion. Our saliva, which enhances us to masticate and to moisten the food to make it easy for us to swallow. The saliva is made up of water. Yes, our cell membranes, mucous membranes lining the walls, and then also within the intestines, they are all made up of water. So water is very, very important. When it comes to regulation of body temperature, it is water that does so. I'm sure you might have experienced it. Yes, sometimes when there's cooling, yes, evaporation followed by cooling is because of water. Yes, so water plays an important role in every human activity. Yes, our structural role in our body is also in the red blood cells, yes, and then also in the cell membranes, in our eyes, in the spinal cord. it is there. And remember, you saw the spinal cord when I was talking about the spinal beef, the one it's to do with folic acid deficiency. Water is very, very important. So when we talk of water balance, it's the body state of hydration. Negative balance when intake is less than output, and the positive balance when intake is greater than output. We say we are in equilibrium when intake and output are the same, and that is what we are supposed to do. And especially in our part of the world where we sweat a lot, it is very, very important that we take in a lot of water to maintain equilibrium. Body gains water through three main routes. The food that we eat, so all foods that we eat, even the driest biscuit has some water in it. All fluids, that is water, all beverages that we drink, they provide us with water, as well as water that is made inside the body through metabolism, through formation of substances. We also make some water. So there are three main routes, and we should be able to state these routes. Yes. The body also loses water through our sweat. When we urinate, we lose water. Through our fecal matter, we also lose water. And then when we breathe, we also lose some water. Then something that is not common, that is vomiting, which is not common, but that can be a major route that a lot of people can lose water and they can die out of it. So a typical example, when somebody is suffering from cholera, they vomit a lot, they also run. And all these things, they are losing water. And then also when one bleeds excessively, you also lose a lot of water, and that can also lead to death. So our daily water loss, and again, the chart on the screen is showing us normal temperature, hot temperature, and then prolonged heavy activity, approximate amount of water that one can lose. So this should be a guide. So you see that in our part of the world, when the temperature is high, we lose more water. As we gain, we do more activity, we also tend to lose a lot of water. And then we lose the water also through the fecal pathway, and this should serve as a guide. And another thing that I would want you to note is that normally when we go to the washroom and we urinate, the color of the urine is also an indicative of how dehydrated we are. Yes. Also, the type of activity that we are doing will also show how much. And then I have some pictures also to guide you with the figures to show how much water one needs, how much one is losing, depending upon the activity. Then this pie chart also shows us how much water we lose and from where, how much we are losing from the various sites. So take note of them. Yes, and then this also shows us the color of the urine, which I mentioned earlier on, when we are well hydrated and then when we are dehydrated, and then the worst scenario, what the color of the urine looks like. And that alone should tell us, because, and this also explains, sometimes some of us, we lose the sensation of taste. So the color of the urine should tell us that, no, I need to take water. I need to take some water. It is very, very important. And one thing we should notice that thirst lags behind lack of water. Thirst, yes. So it is very, very important. So sometimes we tend to ignore thirst. And once we do that, we know that we are causing harm to the body. But I always say that it's best that we should be sipping liquid from time to time to avoid that. And because loss of water can be fatal. How much do we need? About 8 glasses of water is what we need, which is equivalent to 4 sachet water. 4 sachet water every day. So minimum, especially because of our high ambient temperatures here, we need that. However, the needs also is directed towards the climate, the level of physical activity, our age and gender. So somebody, for example, who is physically active, of course, will need more water. Sometimes we'll have to drink about 10 sachets before that person can be in balance. So it is very, very important. And water also helps us to avoid certain disorders. Kidney stones, yes. Water can wash away the stones, yes. It also helps to prevent colorectal cancer, because with enough of water there's less constipation, so the fecal matter does not stay in there with all the cancer causing agents there to cause cancer. So with water, the feces is able to move very fast and does not stay in the colon and the rectum for long. The same thing with the bladder. As you are able to drink a lot of water, you are cleansing the bladder quickly, so then doesn't stay there. If there's anything that is liquid that is in the urine, cancer causing agent. Right now all the foods that you are eating, all kinds of chemicals that are sprayed on them, we are consuming them, so we need to let them come out of the system very fast, and water has the ability to do that. And sometimes when one is very tired, when you take in water, you realize that you are refreshed and that fatigue goes away. So where do we get water from? Yes, we get water from our juices, from milk, from coffee, from tea, from all of them. But as I say, these are not the good sources. We are talking of pure water, because when we take in too much of the juices, and if whether it is pure juice or sugar colored water is the question yet to be answered, because the more sugar we have in them, the more weight we are adding on, the more calories. And the same thing with the milk. Yes, and then with the coffee, as one takes in more coffee, one takes on more tea, yes, they contain caffeine, and caffeine is also known to dehydrate the body, so one can be hydrated easily. Soft drinks, yes, the fizzy drinks, they are also source of water, but however, they also, some contain caffeine, some also contain high amount of sugar, so we need to watch them. So it is very, very important that we choose the right source. Nothing beats pure water itself, H2O. So many of our beverages, note, they contain calories, so we shouldn't just be relying on them. They are not the same thing as water. They are not the same thing as water. Mild dehydration can cause a lot of problems, and I've mentioned that this is additional for us to note. And then with our food and beverages, this chart shows us what they contain as per food. We are not to memorize them, but just to give us a fair idea to the understanding of the subject area. So for today, we've seen that water is so vital to our health, and we've seen why it is a nutrient and why we should take water over other beverages. Taking water with our food is best than taking our food with Coke, or taking it with Pepsi, or taking it with any of the fizzy drinks. Water is water, and its functions cannot be replaced by any other nutrient. So for your take home, what is water balance? Factors that affect water needs. Yes, if you have any challenge, get in touch with me and we shall talk more online if you post your questions. So I'll see you next week.